a segment with Yashi, and that we're going to hear a video. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's because I know we're a little bit ahead of the schedule right now. So, so if we could just go ahead and go with that, I think that would be the next thing that we actually scheduled to do is for Yashi to have the self-care and creativity session. I can't hear. Okay. Technology is a bugger. So we're just trying to work out the technology just for a moment. So just be patient with us. Still no sound. Yeah. So no sound right now. So I think Ed is asking the question, how do you refocus when you're stressed? What do you do? I know you mentioned the George Floyd situation, and what I'm finding is that even within the pandemic and in this crisis, there are more crises that are inside of this particular overall global crisis that we're experiencing. And then, of course, we have our own personal crises. So how do you refocus when you get stressed, when you have new triggers on top of other stressors that you're dealing with?
Well, it's a combination. I try to make sure, first of all, on an actual physical, from a physical space, that I'm getting my sleep and that I do take regular medication and treatment for my mental health condition. In the video, it explains, of course, I talked about, I was diagnosed with bipolar 1. So it's interesting, from the beginning of the year, I went vegan. And so that it was a great change because it altered my medicines that I take, some that I've been on since 2008. So that was a really interesting revelation. So
Yes,
that had to actually get adjusted this year around the time of all these changes. So it's like this all came about at the same time. But I make sure that I'm following my treatment and getting my rest. Food intake, what you're eating, is very key. And then once all of those things are aligned, now I have to also make sure that I'm doing my self-care, self-help, spiritual inner work, that inner work, which is meditation, prayer. I really rely on prayer and try to always incorporate some sort of a reading or something that is positive information and wisdom that I'm taking in that's resonating with wherever I'm at in my life in that moment. That always has a central theme of bringing together oneness and people coming together. But there's so many amazing writers, authors down through the years. Spirituality is key in that balancing work. So yeah, that's the combination. It's the chemical, or what we're taking in our bodies, physical, mental, all of it. And that is, they are inseparable. They all work together.
absolutely. I would have to agree with you. I went plant-based or vegan about a year ago, and I would have to say that that has made a huge difference in terms of being able to manage the stress. And that's why I felt I was compelled to bring in a nutrition piece to the members of my ministry. And I felt like that was just so important. And it's interesting that you said that the medications, shifted as a result of you changing your diet. So there's the
Absolutely.
scripture. Yeah, there's a scripture that I live by, and it has been kind of the theme for 2020. And it's that beloved, I wish above all things that you would prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prosper. So when we talk about people being in peace, it's the word shalom, and shalom means wholeness, that we should be whole, mind, body, and soul. So the spiritual piece, the physical piece, you know, uh, uh, the physical piece, all of that, it works together.
Yeah.
So I think that is a really great point, and I love that you are bringing in the whole aspect of it, and I think that is so important that people would pay attention to every aspect of their lives. Even if you are a spiritual person, it's still important for you to be physically well, and it's still important for you to be mentally well. You can't have one without the other. So what advice would you give someone who may be coming into this year and they are experiencing for the first time some mental health issues that may have been underlying, but maybe they ignored it, or maybe there have been some triggers or some things new that have brought that to the forefront? What would you say to someone who's just now coming to the realization that they need to seek help?
Oh gosh, I would just let them know that they're not alone, that there these I would reiterate things they've been seeing and hearing. So hopefully, um, iterating it, at least from my space, somebody who experiences and who really can tell both sides, reassure them that uh, this is very much so treatable. They are not alone, and to be patient with themselves. Do not be
Mm,
hard on yourself.
right.
Allow yourself to understand, to get to know why these contrasts, why these disruptions and distortions are happening within your body, within your spirit.
Hmm.
This is a call to learn. This is a call to understand yourself as well as your fellow man. So
Hmm.
when you really look at it from these angles, it will help you again understand our universe, but understand yourself and use
Hmm.
it as an opportunity to, again, be patient and to learn. The information is out there and the help is out there. Now, also take the steps to try to um, see what help you has. Um, there's different foundations. I'd like to say NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. There's the campaign to change direction, which talks about the 5 signs. If somebody's wondering if they're suffering from a real mental health break or something that is more significant than just having a bad day, there's signs, there's actual signs so that you can test yourself. And then
Mm.
from there, there's coping mechanisms and techniques and steps to seeing a doctor, a professional practitioner. So that is changedirection.org. It's a good one to go to as well. My friend Barbara Van Dalen, she heads that. And other foundations that are out there, JED Foundation, I work closely with JED, JED
Mm.
Foundation.org. They specialize and work with young people in colleges across the US. And
Hmm.
again, with helping people um, navigate this space in what does it mean? This is a new space. What does it entail? How do I get the help? These organizations are there to help you not feel alone, but also take the necessary steps in order to feel better, to gain empowerment so that you can help yourself. And also take note of your environment. It's so important to take note of what types of images, what types of energies are in our environment. Really important. So much of this is energy. Energy is connected to our environment. Um, Being in an environment that reflects, um, a healthy mental disposition is hard sometimes to attain when you're in a negative mental disposition. But maybe
Hmm.
that's a moment where you can call on a friend, a loved one, and help assess your environment and how is that exacerbating your symptoms? How is that exacerbating negative emotions versus life-giving, thriving emotions? Just
Right.
things to think about. I'm kind of not even tipping the iceberg, but I don't want to overwhelm. But these are essential, like foundational things, fundamental things to go, to tackle and to get a move on.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. That those were all great tips, and hopefully, some of the organizations that you referenced, that people will be able to write those things down. So right now, we are trying to decide which direction that we're going to take. We're going to have networking soon, probably around 11 o'clock. So I'm asking. Jenny and Corinna whether or not we're going to do the video. So yes, we're going to go ahead and we're going to try the video now.
Okay.
So hopefully they've gotten the technical difficulties worked out. So let's try the video.
Hi,
Oh,
everybody. My name is Yashi Brown, and I hope you guys are really enjoying this amazing summit over the last few days and feel very honored to be able to speak to you about a topic that is very close to my heart, and that is care. The two are one in the same, and that's because creativity is a way of purging and transmuting energy that might be blocked and needs expressing, energy that is trying to come through. At the same time, when we go in and we start to do those activities that lend to self care, which might be taking in wisdom, reading, meditating, and speaking to loved ones and people that are in our inner circle, this is another way that our creativity can grow, because from these experiences it only adds to the expressions that we're giving and that we're bringing out into the world. And so I always like to say that it's a mutual back and forth, um, symbiotic, mutually symbiotic relationship between the two when it comes to self-care, self-help, as well as our creativity. In my case, it's poetry. I am a mental health advocate, and I'm also a poet, and I am a public speaker that speaks on the topic of mental wellness and how to take care of our mental health. I'm someone who was diagnosed with bipolar type 1 and went through several, I guess you can say, moments, ups and downs. What would you consider the typical uh, back and forth of someone who experiences those type of mental health challenges? But I was so blessed to be able to come through it on the other side. And I can honestly say that I wouldn't change anything now that I've been able to experience everything that I've been able to experience and know the difference and come out with the amount of empathy, and as well as how it's aided to the creativity so that it could help others. And that's what this is all about, is about giving back. It's about helping others in this cycle of, again, how we take in food and energy and knowledge and wisdom for ourselves, and then how that in turn aids our creativity, and at the same time how our creativity reflects our emotions and insights, inspirations, channelings, whatever it is that we might be coming through and bringing through our creativity. We want to nurture and make sure those outlets are constantly being activated. And so I'm here to talk about what's helped me in this whole process. And then I'm also going to share a poem at the end of this. So, number one, I think being open about having a mental health challenge, having a mental health condition, talking about it and talking about it in a very frank and matter of fact way has really been a major part of the healing process. It's allowed me to connect with people that don't feel like they can use their voice or open up and talk about feeling sad, uh, not feeling very productive, feeling depressed, or maybe some individuals might have more severe symptoms, kind of like the ones that I had, where you might have delusions or have symptoms of psychosis. I talk about these things in daylight, and, as if I'm talking about, I had the flu the other day. Literally, it's like literally that. Um, I don't think of it any different. It's just a condition that sometimes, if left to its own devices and without the treatments that I've been blessed to now have, without that, yes, I would be in a hospital. I've experienced hospitalizations before. But then at the same time, coming now back on the other side and having gone through treatment, I can honestly say all of this has been part of a sharpening and an evolution of my soul, of my spirit, of my creativity, and my sense of humanity. So um, I'm able to look at everything through a lens of gratefulness that I am here today, and hopefully with the knowledge that I do have and how I've been able to come back and be on this side of it, share it, and make the path easier for others that are experiencing these same symptoms, whether it's severe depression, whether it's bipolar, whether it's schizoaffective, you've experienced delusions, or whether it's just needing to know how to deal with a bad day, bad news, understanding that this is all transitory and that we're constantly in flow. Nothing has to last forever. So much is in our power, and how do we take that power back? um, I've been so blessed to have connected with different authors and different spiritual seekers over the years that have connected and helped me find my path, helped me find myself, and how I want to express, and find that connection with the universe, because it's about, again, feeling not disconnected, but always knowing that we are connected, and feeling that connection is so important. And so, those voices that give rise to that same message is what I'm all about. Uh, Understanding the power of meditation, of the chakra centers, of the energy centers in our body, um, the humble nature that goes with learning and being a student of these different sciences and of these different wisdom and teachings that are out there. Again, constantly wanting to learn so that I can be of service and so we can be of service, because that's when we really feel our best. That's when we really feel good, is when we are able to give that and feel that connection. We're at a time now with COVID-19 and with being quarantined or social distancing, we're having to go into a space that we're not very comfortable with. We're being very aware of our bodily contact in a way that might be uncomfortable. But again, going back to being a student and wanting to learn, why are we in this place? What can we learn from being in this place? How do we empower ourselves and empower others? And being humble at the same time is so important. It's going to help us get through this time period and come out stronger on the other side. So, with that being said, I'm going to read you a poem. I'm going to leave you with these words, and just good health to you. And I just want to continue to impress how powerful it is, continuing to just prayer, spirituality, and how that channels through to our creativity and whatever your creative outlet is, making sure you continue to supplement it with experiences and with knowledge and anything else that can aid in bringing much more love and light into this universe. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Brown, for your inspirational story. Thank you for your encouraging words. Thank you for all of the resources that you've shared with us and the wonderful advice to us. We appreciate it so much. So, unfortunately, it looks like the technology is giving us a lot of problems today, and her poem cut off. I really wanted to hear that. Um, so, we're going to move on for right now. Bummer, I know I really wanted to hear the rest of her poem. But what I wanted to do now is take the time to move us into the next segment. We're going to have our Q&A. We're going to have networking segments. But before we move into that, I want to acknowledge the planners and sponsoring partners for the San Marcos Global Entrepreneurship Week program. Chairing the effort is Ms. Karina Boston Pinellas of Splash Co-working, Claudette Blythe, founder of Modern Tribes Events and chair with the Dunbar Heritage Association, Sean Bold, founder of SimPulse, new venture entrepreneur in residence at Texas State University Star Park, the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship at Texas State University, and Barbara Thomason, Director of Workforce Development, Business Retention and Expansion at the Greater San Marcos Partnership, the Regional Economic Development Organization for Hays and Caldwell Counties. So we want to say thank you to all of our entrepreneurs and our sponsors this week. And right now we have a unique way to allow you to interact and create connections with something that we call chat roulette or chat roulette, depending on what part of the country you're from, you pronounce it. It is a way that we pair up with attendees, then scramble you up again so that you get to meet as many people virtually as possible in the allotted time. We will scramble for about 15 minutes and then transition to the vendor booths, which is a virtual platform that is not to be missed. So we want to encourage you to be able to jump back on, to hop in, um, and click on some of those networking sessions and hop in and get ready to network and play games and meet other people back in the hop in platform.